The Chat Lore Explained, Part 1. So, before the beginning of time, there was God, and there was Craig Elias. Craig's ass was God's right-hand man. He helped him create the planets, the universe, and all that other shit. And he was cool as fuck with God, for the time being. But over time, Craig's ass grew jealous of God. Because motherfuckers was like, God, you snapped on the planets. God, you snapped on the stars. God, you snapped on the universe. The whole time, Craig helped God create those things, but he never got any credit or gratification for that shit. So Craig got mad as fuck. He challenged God to a boxing match, existing of infinite rounds. And the shit was flying, shit was blowing up. It was a good ass fight, you gotta believe me. But ultimately, Craig lost in the last round of infinite rounds. And he lost by decision too. That's how you know it was a good ass fight. And as his punishment for losing to God, Craig was sentenced to live out the rest of his life as a mortal and as a demigod. And his job on Earth was to kill every fucking capper he came in contact with, no matter what. No mercy on them cappers. You see that motherfucker in the pic right here? His name was Johnny Romero. He eventually became friends with Craig in 2016. He was funny as fuck. He got all the bitches. He was a perfect dude. He eventually became Craig's gym partner. And he was so funny, Craig even nicknamed his ass the Joke Man. But unfortunately for Johnny, that motherfucker kinda capped a lot. I'm not even gonna lie. But one day, he fell asleep instead of taking Craig to the gym like he told him he was going to, and Craig got mad as fuck. He came to his room and he killed that motherfucker, man. I'm not even gonna explain how he killed him, cause that shit's too brutal, man. You see that pic right there? That's me. My name is Dylan, aka the Joke Man, and I was Johnny's younger brother. And I saw that whole murder scene take place. Believe me, that shit scarred me for life. And I do not want to talk about it, so don't ask me about it. But Craig saw that I saw the murder scene, and he felt bad for me. He gave me something called a silver favor. That's basically like a genie wish. I can ask for something, and Craig has to give it to me. So this pic right here is of Old Lalo, aka Blicky Man. And he's a very important character, so listen closely. So one day, I was on Discord, and I was talking shit to Lalo and my other friend Tony about how I had a favor from Craig, and that he would beat their ass if I wanted him to. And Lala was like, maniac, I don't give a fuck about no Craig. I ain't scared of no one. I'll shoot his ass. I ain't scared of no one. And the guy you see right here is the hero. So basically Craig found out that Lalo was talking shit about him, and he confronted him. And even though Craig could kill Lalo in the snap of a finger, he saw that when he confronted Lalo, Lalo did not fear him. And Craig respected that. And so he respected it so much, he gave Lalo something called a golden favor. And a golden favor is worth more than a silver favor. Lalo's actually the only person in the universe that owns the golden favor. And Craig also agreed to train Lalo and make him the hero. But before Lalo actually became the hero, he used to participate in a life of crime. He used to drink, smoke, kill people. He has a stepson named Mateo who he abandoned. And he used to be in a gang called the Maniacs. But in order for Lalo to solidify himself as the hero, he had to do a complete 180, start training in the gym with Craig, and he had to leave that life of crime behind and become what you know today as the hero. The Chat Lore Explained, Part 2. Do you see this dude right here? Well, his name is Sergio. Do you remember how I told you how Lalo had stood up to Craig, and as a result, Craig gave him a golden favor and made him the hero? Well, Sergio kind of tried to do the same thing, but only it didn't work out the same way. Craig did not take lightly to Sergio standing up to him, and he ran it from Las Vegas all the way to Sergio's house in Chicago in 10 minutes and showed up at Sergio's door only to whoop his ass half to death. But Craig kind of felt bad for Sergio, and so he whooped his ass again all the way back to full health. That act in itself is kind of what solidified Craig in the chat as someone who shouldn't be taken lightly and someone who should be feared. And even though I did fear Craig, I was still sort of resentful towards him for killing my older brother Johnny, and I wasn't completely ready to forgive him for what he had done. And around that same time, I had heard word of a brand new supervillain named Tuto who was out to kill me. You see, Tuto was kind of an ex-friend of mine. He left the group chat because the boys would never follow through with any of the plans they made. And over time, Tuto grew tired of this. So tired, in fact, that he left the chat, completely changed his personality around, and became what you know today as a supervillain. And the reason Tuto had a vendetta against me specifically is because he felt like I had taken his place in our friend group. To be honest, I was scared. So the first person I went to was the hero Lalo. I had asked him if he could protect me from the supervillain Tuto, but he said he could not guarantee my safety because he had yet to complete his training with Craig. While desperately looking for protection from Tuto, I had heard of a man by the name of the Beast. The Beast led a huge organization called the League of Villains. The League of Villains secretly controlled the US government, and all the higher-ups were secretly members. The Beast promised me that if I joined his league, he'd not only guarantee my protection from Tuto, but he'd give me my very own superpower. Without any hesitation, I joined the League of Villains, and was given the ability to transform into a clown who had super strength, could create illusions, and could make jokes. I called this transformation the Joke Man, to honor my late brother Johnny, who was given the same name before he was killed. The Chat Lore Explained, Part 3. During the short time that I worked for the Beast, I was made to do some horrible and unspeakable things for him. I had climbed through the ranks, and soon enough, I even became his right-hand man. But even then, the Beast still seemed unsatisfied. He knew that I was friends with the hero, and his subordinates had warned him about how fast the hero was progressing in his training with Craig. And even though the hero's power was becoming a great threat to the Beast himself, the Beast saw this as a great opportunity. Soon thereafter, the Beast sent me to convince the hero into joining the League of Villains. I tried my hardest to convince the hero to join, but he would not accept any of the Beast's offers. I told him that if he joined the League of Villains, the Beast would grant him levels of power that he would never be able to reach on his own. Despite all of my efforts, the hero refused to join. He said that no amount of power offered to him would be enough to convince him into becoming a villain, and that he only fought for good. This, of course, made the Beast very angry, and he made it his goal to kill the hero before he becomes too powerful to stop. Still unsatisfied, the Beast asked me if I knew anyone else who would be interested in joining his League of Villains. The first person that came to my mind was Tony, also known as the King of the Grind. He was my training partner at the time, and I quickly realized how much untapped potential he had. But just like the hero, Tony refused to join the League of Villains. He said that he could not commit to the side of good or evil, but instead, he chose to become a vigilante, fighting for what he believes is right or wrong. The last person that came to mind that would be interested in joining the League of Villains was Sergio. It was no secret to anybody about Sergio's disdain towards the hero. He believed that Lalo was not worthy enough to be called a hero. To nobody's surprise, Sergio quickly accepted my offer without any hesitation and became part of the League of Villains. As promised, the Beast granted him his powers, and shortly thereafter, he would be known as Nightmare. The Chat Lore Explained, Part 4. After many months of working for the Beast, I became tired of blindly following orders. Treachery, murder, and theft were all common things that the Beast would make me do for him. And I did all of these things because the Beast guaranteed my protection from Tuto. I was so desperate for protection that I had lost myself in order to obtain it. I knew deep down inside myself that I was not evil, but I needed to find a way to leave the League of Villains and still be protected from Tuto. Luckily for me, that's where Andres came in. Andres was the hero's older brother, and he told me that he had attained a platinum favor from winning a contest. And he also told me that he used that platinum favor in order to receive training from Craig alongside the hero. Andres explained to me that if I left the League of Villains, he would guarantee my protection. And after seeing a display of his powers, I couldn't refuse that offer. Shortly thereafter, I told the Beast that I was leaving my life of crime behind and that I was going to join the hero. Unfortunately for me though, Andres had only guaranteed my protection from Tuto and not from the Beast. So the Beast showed up to my house later that night and beat my ass half to death. If that was the price I had to pay in order to leave my life of crime behind, then I say it was worth it. Oh, and the only reason the beast whooped my ass is because my shoe was untied and I tripped during the fight and then he whooped my ass on the ground. But I still got one good shot in on his ass. Believe me, he felt that. About a month or two goes by after I leave the League of Villains, and Craig announces that he's having a tournament in which the grand prize is a diamond favor. The rules were simple. Whoever can go the longest amount of time without capping wins the diamond favor. And for the first time in hundreds of millions of years, whoever capped would not be killed by Craig, but instead would just be eliminated from the tournament. I told myself that I had to win that tournament, no matter what it cost. With a diamond favor, I could bring back my brother Johnny. But the competition was fierce. There were millions of entrants from people all across the world. But my biggest threats were the king of the grind, Sergio aka Nightmare, who was still working for the Beast at the time, Adrian, a member of the chat who had solved the Flint, Michigan crisis using his iced tea powers, and of course, the hero himself, who had just obtained Witcher powers from a fight or flight response he had while accidentally getting stuck in hell. I wanted nothing more than to win this tournament, but as you'll see in the next episode, things don't always work out the way you want them to. The Chat Lore Explained, Part 5. It was a few weeks into the tournament for the Diamond Favor, and everything was going smoothly. The millions of people who had entered the tournament from across the world had lost, and the last few remaining members belonged to the group chat. But out of nowhere, Craig gets news about a deadly virus that originated in Wuhan, China. The virus was quickly spreading throughout all of Asia and even parts of Europe. Attempting to stop this newborn virus from ever being created, Craig travels back in time in order to find and kill Patient Zero, all the while deciding to leave Andres, the hero's older brother, in charge of the tournament while he's away. And unsurprisingly, the first person to cap and lose the tournament while under Andres' supervision was Sergio. Sergio told the group chat that he was going to have a party and that it was, quote, gonna be a banger. But as it turns out, Sergio capped about having the party and thus was eliminated from the tournament. But as they say, nobody is perfect, and that even includes the hero. Me, Tony, and Sergio all accused the hero of capping multiple times and even had a good amount of proof to back it up. But since the hero's brother was in charge of the tournament, all of our proof got denied, and he was allowed to remain in the tournament. That's some fucking Goku level plot armor if you ask me. As you know, they call me the Joke Man, which means I like to make jokes. So one day, I made a video saying I was going to kill Craig as a joke. Let me just show you the video instead of explaining it to you.
First, you know that shit rubs off. And you know I'm gonna kill Craig.
Well, it turns out somebody snitched and sent that video to Craig. And it's safe to say, Craig was not happy at all about that video. And he gave me a 3 joke a day limit. And if I went over that limit, I was eliminated from the tournament. And what do you know? That's how I got eliminated from the tournament. I didn't even cap. I just joked more than 3 times in one day and was eliminated. I'm sorry, Johnny. I didn't get to bring you back. And the last person to be eliminated from the tournament was the king of the grind, Tony. He said that no cap, he would sign up for the gym. But as it turned out, he did not sign up for the gym. And so the winner of the entire tournament, and the one who went on to receive the diamond favor, was the hero. The Chat Lore Explained, Part 6. After winning the diamond favor, the hero finally received some well-deserved recognition. But as it turns out, all publicity is not necessarily good publicity. A giant creature who was half man and half scorpion had recently become the governor of Durango, Mexico, and had heard about the hero obtaining the diamond favor. And although this creature's name was unknown to us, he commonly referred to himself as El Gobernador de Durango. And he wanted to see if Lalo was truly the hero he had heard about in the legends. El Gobernador's first test was to send his subordinate Cuco to slander the hero's name. A true hero would never allow someone to tarnish his image, El Gobernador said to Cuco. And so every chance he got, Cuco would publicly slander the hero's name in order to provoke him. This next clip is actual footage of Cuco shitting on the hero's name.
Give me the view and I'm alone. Baby, don't trip, I'm coming home. Hang it with me, I don't care if the sun is gone. So yeah, basically that means that I'm gonna kick Lalo's ass till the sun is gone. And I'll be dreaming of kicking his ass. You already know, fuck Lalo.
So obviously, the hero was less than happy about Cuco treating the fuck out of him. And so he teamed up with Anonymous and exposed Cuco for being a pedo. And so this led to the cancellation of Cuco, and resulted in the hero's first victory over a villain. Albeit a sub-villain, but a win is a win and we'll take that shit. And all of this made El Gobernador very angry, and so he was forced to take matters into his own hands. He was unconvinced that Lalo was the hero, and was dead set on making Lalo prove himself. And in order to make Lalo prove himself as the hero, El Gobernador killed 100 people in Durango every single day. And he said he would not stop until Lalo completed a heroic act. And luckily enough, after about 6 weeks and thousands dead, the hero finally saw his opportunity to do a heroic act. The hero shared a Save Our Children post on Facebook, spreading awareness on child abduction and pedophilia. This one true act of heroism was enough to convince El Gobernador to stop killing innocent people. He then realized that Lalo was worthy to be called the hero.
I'm like, yeah, she's fine. Wonder when she'll be mine. She walked past like praise, rewind to see that